When it comes to Walt Disney World Resort hotels, size and location do matter. Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort offers convenient transportation to the parks, a real cool pool, but are tropical island vibes and a sprawling resort what you want on your Disney vacation? Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Okay, bright tropical colors, cool island names, hammocks on the beach, even pirate-themed rooms to sleep in. Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, or Caribbean Beach Resort, I'm just going to stick with Caribbean. Sorry if you would rather I'd said Caribbean. But it's got an awful lot going for it, including being one of the few moderate resorts at Disney that can sleep 5 people. But let's take a closer look at what Caribbean Beach Resort does and doesn't offer, and whether or not this resort is even worth it. In the past, I personally have said, yes, it's worth it, and no, it's not, for very, very different reasons and depending on who you are. So we're gonna go through all that today. So this resort was the first moderate resort at Walt Disney World. It surrounds a 45-acre lake, Barefoot Bay, and it has become a favorite for many guests over the years. A moderate resort, by the way, is one that has hotel rooms that are not quite as large or as luxurious as Disney's deluxe resorts, like the Polynesian Village Resort, and they don't offer quite as many amenities, like multiple restaurants, fitness centers, spas, etc. Die-hard Caribbean beach fans love the brightly colored buildings and the Spanish Fort-themed main pool and splash areas. Those are super cool. The resort dining options and the recreational offerings and the lush tropical foliage that you're going to find throughout the resort. Now, Caribbean Beach is a hub for the Skyliner, which is probably, spoiler alert, its best attribute right now. And it gives guests direct access to both Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot, which is a huge, huge plus when it comes to transportation at this resort, which is otherwise kind of stinky. Now, the property is broken down into villages. There are 5 separate sections that represent the Caribbean islands of Martinique, Barbados, Aruba, Jamaica, and Trinidad, and they are super spread out. The property is huge, and choosing one village over another may mean a pretty long walk to get to things. There's lots of reasons why you'd want to choose your village super, super carefully. Can you choose your village? Well, sort of. You can request a village or an area of the resort. It's never guaranteed, but it's absolutely something you're going to want to do if you decide to stay at Caribbean Beach Resort. All right, we're going to start with transportation. Transportation at this hotel is really hit or miss. There are some great things going on here. Not only is the direct access to the 2 theme parks awesome news because you get to ride the Skyliner, which is kind of cool to ride in and of itself, but having the Skyliner there has helped alleviate some of the transportation woes that have plagued this resort. The best location to be in for access to the Skyliner is in either the Jamaica Village, which is the closest to the Skyliner station that'll get you to Hollywood Studios, or Aruba, which is a little closer to the Riviera Resort Station, which you can also use while staying at Caribbean Beach. It's about a 10-minute ride to Epcot on the Skyliner. There are 7 bus stops here. Yes, I said 7. The route seems to change periodically, but if you are at one of the later bus stops, there's always been a really good chance that the buses would be full by the time they got to you. That means having to wait even longer for the next bus, or walking over to one of the other villages, or up to Old Port Royal, which is the main area of the resort, hoping to beat some of the bus crowds. Now, yes, I said they changed the bus routes. Sounds like a real mean thing to do, right? But they do it. Right now, the buses start their route in Martinique and end in Aruba. Historically, Martinique has often been one of the first stops, but this can change. It might be something to consider if you're planning to make a specific building request. I don't know how they decide where they pick up first and where they pick up last, but I'm sure it has something to do with guest data and how many people are staying in each section of the resort, etc. Now, when the Skyliner has made the transportation much easier to get to Hollywood Studios and Epcot, you might still need a plan B if you're headed to the Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom and your village is one of the later bus stops. Buses run about every 15 minutes or so, and if a bus is full by the time it gets to you, especially now in COVID time, you may have to wait for the next one. This can really mess up an early morning dining reservation. So here are potential plan Bs. Plan to drive yourself if you're not a fan of waiting on Disney buses at the start of your day. If you are taking the bus, plan at least 90 minutes if you want to get from Caribbean Beach to Main Street USA in the morning, or of course you can do a taxi, you can do a Lyft, you can do an Uber, and when minivans come back, you can do a minivan. Now you can't walk to any of the theme parks from CBR, but the walk to the Riviera Resort is about 10 minutes from the Aruba Village section of the resort. That's really convenient if you have a dining reservation at Topolino's Terrace. Moving on to rooms and pricing. Caribbean Beach used to be one of the cheaper moderate resorts, mostly due to the age. But over the years and through renovations, the price to stay here is now comparable to the other moderate resorts. Rooms here are going to chew up a chunk of the vacation budget, depending on what type of room you choose. Standard view rooms start at about $240 in lower value season, but a preferred room during the holidays is going to cost you close to $500 without a discount. We're talking Grand Floridian cash there. That's a whole lot of money considering you'll be spending so much of your vacation trying to get places from your room. Now, Caribbean Beach has standard view rooms and water or pool view rooms, some of which will accommodate a fifth guest. There are also preferred rooms and the specially themed pirate rooms. These are all categories of rooms that you can actually pay for to guarantee. Those pirate rooms may be worth it if you have someone who will really enjoy the theme, but know that they're some of the farthest rooms from the main lobby and the food. Preferred rooms, some of which do offer a fifth sleeper. By the way, preferred is the word that Disney uses for the rooms that have attributes that people usually want, like being close to the lobby or close to amenities. So preferred rooms, some of which do offer a fifth sleeper, are in the villages of Martinique and Barbados, each of which flanks Old Port Royal on either side. Booking these rooms will guarantee you're a short walk to the dining and main pool at the resort. If you have more specific requests, like a certain building, because each village has multiple buildings, so if you want to be like in building 8 in a specific village, you can call the hotel about a week to 5 days ahead of your arrival to make that request. You can ask if you can leave the request with the room assigner. Check the map when you are putting in your room request, but if you want to be where the buzz is happening, buildings 25, 24 in Martinique are going to get you as up close and personal as you can get in this gigantic resort to the main pool, the food, the check-in, but it's going to be a good 10-minute walk to the Skyliner from these buildings. So if you prefer being closer to the Skyliner, don't book one of the preferred rooms. The bottom line here is you could actually end up paying more for a preferred room that turns out to, not be your preference. And let's talk about the water view or pool view rooms. Yep, you might get a room that has a direct view of that cool main pool area, and for the record, this is probably going to be a really loud place to stay, but a room is considered a pool view if it has a view of any of the 6 pools. And a water view room could be a beautiful view of Barefoot Bay, or you might have an obstructed view that really isn't worth the cost, especially when you consider you don't have a private balcony to enjoy that view, but rather the public walkway outside your hotel room door. It is so important at this resort to look at the map and get a feeling for where the rooms are before you make your room requests. I don't find that I tend to worry too much about spending more for a view at a moderate resort because, once again, you don't have a balcony to sit on to enjoy the view. If you've got your curtains open to see the view, you're just looking at the walkway and the railing, and there's going to be people walking by looking in your room the whole time. So if you want to spend extra money for the view, make it so that you are spending extra money to be closer to where you want to be. Now, if you don't listen to anything else in this whole video, this is the one thing I want you to listen to, because this is the one thing that bugs me the most about this hotel. The buildings here do not have elevators. Now, that might not seem like a big deal while you're sitting at home in your recliner with the air conditioning on, but imagine coming in late after a long day at Magic Kingdom and the bus has dropped you off with your stroller, your souvenirs, your 2 sleeping kids, half a box of popcorn, and 3 balloons. Also, it's July. Those stairs might as well be a climb of Mount Everest with the challenge you're about to face, and the struggle is very real. So, note, no elevators. You can request a ground floor room. That's probably going to be your best bet if you have mobility concerns, if you have someone in a wheelchair or a scooter, if you have strollers, or if you have lots of luggage. You're going to want to request that ground floor room for sure. All right, now let's talk about the 5th sleeper rooms. The accommodation for a 5th person at Caribbean is actually a small Murphy bed that pulls down from the dresser/TV stand. These beds are super cute and theming, with Mickey Mouse lazing in a hammock on the beach, but you gotta be careful here. You're only gonna be able to put a little kid in the Murphy bed. The beds are not quite a full-size twin bed, and only a kid under about 9 years old is gonna fit. If your kids are teenagers, or if you're traveling with a group of adults, the Murphy bed is not gonna happen. Also, storage is a little tight in these rooms. You're bringing a party of 5 to these rooms, but with the Murphy bed taking up so much space, you don't get too many drawers. You'll have only about 5 drawers to put your things away in, and that might not be too bad for a short trip, but if you're staying longer than 2 or 3 days, you might find yourself living out of your suitcase, which, if that's what you do anyway, no problem. Now we're taking a little walk over to Old Port Royale, which is the main lobby where you'll find the quick service dining, Centertown Market, the resort's table service restaurant, Sebastian's Bistro, the lounge, pool bar, Banana Cabana, along with grab-and-go foods and a gift shop. But it can be a good 15-minute walk from parts of the resort to Old Port Royale. And while you can always hop on one of the buses, that's not always convenient if you want to snag your mobile order in a hurry. So you will find just about everything you need here, and if your plan is to enjoy most of your meals at your hotel during your stay or hitting the pool every day, definitely consider the preferred rooms. Otherwise, this might be too far of a trek for you to get much use out of having a main hub. But let's dig a little deeper into dining. There are a couple of dining options available to you if you stay at Caribbean Beach. The table service restaurant here is Sebastian's Bistro. It's a beachy looking place with a menu primarily offering food with Caribbean flavors. The food is okay here. It doesn't quite live up to the spice and bold flavors you'll find in the real Caribbean, but at the same time, if you don't like Caribbean food, there's not a whole lot on the menu for you to choose from. Quick service meals can be found at Centertown Market. You're going to find standard breakfasts like Mickey waffles along with burgers and fish tacos for lunch and dinner. Like most Disney quick service restaurants, you'll also find pizza and chicken nuggets for your pickier eaters. I've eaten here several times. I haven't been super wowed by any of it. This is probably one of my least favorite food courts in Disney World. So take that with a grain of salt, but it's definitely not my favorite. Now, just next to Sebastian's Bistro is Banana Cabana. The pool bar has a bright, colorful outdoor seating area. It's a good spot to grab a drink before or after dinner or a snack if you're spending the day by the pool. They have a great jerk chicken sandwich here, along with a few shareable appetizers to pair with your tropical rum drink. Now, of course, there's a full bar here, and this is actually my favorite dining experience there at Caribbean Beach Resort. It's usually got a pretty fun, accessible menu, and the atmosphere here is really, really nice. Now, the Spyglass Grill is an outdoor counter service location in the Trinidad Village by the pool. You'll be able to refill your resort refillable mug here, and they also have a microwave and toaster that you can use instead of hiking all the way to Centertown Market. The menu's limited here, but they do have some tasty sandwiches like a chorizo burger and a Caribbean taco trio. And you can get breakfast, lunch, dinner, and cocktails. You don't have to walk over to the Banana Cabana pool bar for a drink. So that's a nice kind of extra dining location if you aren't close to the central amenities. Headed over to the pools, the main pool area here is Fuentes del Moro Pool, and it's a very cool looking place with 2 water slides, water cannons, a shipwreck splash area for little kids, and heads up, it is always pretty crowded. The best time to go and find a lounge chair is early in the morning or much, much later in the evening when everybody's kind of leaving for dinner. There are also 5 leisure pools at Caribbean Beach Resort, also known as quiet pools. Now, these pools are kid friendly. There's no real need to be, or in my experience, they have never been quiet. You are likely to find less of a crowd at these pools than at the main pool. What you are not going to find is lifeguards, pool towels, and life jackets. There are sometimes towel carts at the quiet pools, but not always, so bring the towels from your room. You can have them replaced by housekeeping if you do. Now, if you or your child needs a life jacket at a quiet pool, you will have to head over to the main pool to get one, and you'll have to return it there as well. These pools also tend to stay open a little bit later, so if you've had a long day at the parks and wanted a quick dip before bedtime, the quiet pool may be your best bet. Now, heads up, these pools are not necessarily what I would call aesthetically pleasing. Everything is basically colored cement. There's not a whole lot of atmosphere here. Most of these just kind of look like your typical lower end hotel pool. So that could just be me being difficult, or it could give you a little heads up to go check that out. Check out those pictures before you stay if you're looking for, that tropical oasis. All right, resort activities. If you're between the ages of 4 and 12, Caribbean Beach has a pirate adventure cruise that gives you a chance to pretend to be Jack Sparrow for a couple of hours. Although not currently operating, the cruise costs just over $30 and takes the kids on a boat with a life jacket and supervision to several ports of call where they'll look for pirate treasure. The trip runs for 2 hours. There's a lunch of some Uncrustables and fruit when they return. Even though it says this is for kids up to age 12, it's really geared more to the lower end of the age range, and you rarely see kids older than 10 or so. The boats do hold 12 kids, so you want to reserve this in advance if it's something your kids would want to do. But again, it's not operating right now because of COVID protocol. We'll let you know on our newsletter when that comes back into action. And they've also had mermaid swimming classes for kids here in the past, where your kid literally gets a mermaid tail and gets to swim around the pool. That sounds super, super cool, and definitely a destination-worthy activity that might convince some of you caretakers to book this hotel. We'll let you know when that comes back as well. Now, Barefoot Bay provides a way for you to keep up a training schedule during vacation, or just keep up with the extra calories you might be consuming. There's a 2K jogging trail around the water and bike rentals available. It's beautiful, by the way. You'll also find things that are offered at most Disney hotels, like movies under the stars, pool party games, and some paid extra activities like tie-dye shirt workshops. Check the hotel's activity schedule at the front desk to see what's happening during your stay. All right, so is it worth it to stay at Caribbean Beach? Here's where it really does all boil down to size and location. The theme is definitely reminiscent of the Caribbean in its bright colors and tropical plants. The beaches are beautiful white sand beaches. Of course, there is no swimming from the beach. Having the Skyliner as a transportation option has definitely helped with some of the soul-crushing transportation issues that this resort has always had, but it only helps get you to 2 of the 4 theme parks. The 5th sleeper rooms make Caribbean Beach a less expensive option than a deluxe resort if you are a family of 5, but you want to remember that only the littler kids can use that Murphy bed option. You get a little bit more in terms of recreation and amenities than you would at a value resort, but you're going to be paying quite a bit more, especially during the busy holiday seasons. For some people, the walk to and from different parts of this resort is just going to be too much to handle on a regular basis. And then to not have an elevator if you're on the 2nd floor, well, that kind of adds insult to injury. If you're looking for a bright, tropical, beachy feeling spot to help you enjoy your Disney vacation, there's a Calypso soundtrack just waiting for you to dance your way through this resort. But you may want to think twice if the size of the resort and no guarantee of a room location you're comfortable with is going to sink your vacation before it even really gets going. We're working on doing these Is It Worth It videos for all the Disney hotels, so you can easily compare Caribbean Beach to Coronado Springs, to the Fort Wilderness Cabins, Port Orleans, and all of the moderate resorts. But right now, if I had to make a call, I'd say that if the Skyliner is extremely important to you and is going to really affect your stay, then that's probably the only reason that I would choose Caribbean Beach over Coronado Springs or the Port Orleans resorts. Again, at this point, food options are better at all the other moderate resorts. The rooms are better at all the other moderate resorts, but with the Skyliner, transportation brings Caribbean Beach up several notches. So that's a huge deal because all the other mods are pretty much bus only, with the exception of a couple of boats to Disney Springs. So that's my personal feeling about Caribbean Beach Resort. The last time I stayed there, I was not super impressed, but I know a lot of you love this resort, and I want you to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you stayed at Caribbean Beach? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you just sort of meh about it? Was it your favorite experience? Let us know your experience at Caribbean Beach. If there's a particular village you would recommend, please let us know that in the comments as well. If you love Centertown Market, let us know what you order when you're there. We can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.